Testing 1, 2, mic check. You picking this up? Testing 1, 2. Mic check 1, 2, testing. Is this coming up now? Testing 1, 2, mic check.
We're not voting. I'd like to call the Finance, Ways and Means Committee back to order for February 23rd, 2026. The last budget hearing for today is the Department of General Services. So if you would make your way to the front, please. Members, we did get the technology fixed, so if you would please log in to the machine in front of you so that we can make sure that we see you on the screen up here so we can activate your mic when the time is right for that to be done. Before we begin, without objection, we are out of session. We're out of session. Commissioner, thank you for being here. Please introduce yourself and who you have with you.
Great. Thank you, Chairman and Committee. Good afternoon. My name is Andy Kidd, and I serve as the Commissioner for the department. And with me, I have Michael Winston, Director of Financial Management. And so we'll go ahead and get started here. We've got a few just facts and figures on the screen, just a little bit about the department. Won't go into detail there, but just wanted to provide that to you before we talk about our cost increases. First, for the cost increase, we have our multi-agency law enforcement training academy, 7 new positions, and those are operational positions, as well as the salaries, benefits, and supporting costs for that. And then number 2 there is a document solutions drone. This is $50,000 in non-recurring funding to purchase a security compliant drone for our photography and videography services. With that, I'll turn it over to Michael for our cost reductions.
Thank you, Commissioner. Michael Winston, Fiscal Officer for General Services. We have 3 reductions for the committee to review this afternoon. The first is for the Mega Site Authority of West Tennessee. This is a $1.5 million reduction in state funding. It's a funding swap as user fees collected by the authority for services provided now are covering the water and wastewater services they provide. Our second reduction is from a result of operational efficiencies made by the department, a total of $478,800. This includes efficiencies in printing and mailing costs, elimination of unnecessary software licenses, and lower storage costs through digitization. These efforts, these efficiencies help us save money, and we can pass along those savings to our customers, the state agencies that we support. And finally, our third item is a spending reduction planned for FY27, a total of $1,088,100. This would be achieved primarily by limiting the number of additions to fleet that we would approve in the next cycle. It would not affect our replacement of existing assets, but just planning to add fewer vehicles to the fleet next year. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Commissioner.
Thank you, Michael. Chairman, I believe that's all we have. So happy to answer any questions you might have.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. The first person, we do have several questions, so several questioners. So we will begin with Chairman Hawk. Chairman Hawk, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to our friends at General Services. Commissioner, welcome. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the work that you've done. Forgive me, I just walked in the door and I had some questions about the Multi-Agency Law Enforcement Training Academy. And if you touched on that, if you could give us a little more depth on what we're doing, provide us an update, the positions that we have created to go with Melita, as well as what we're looking time-wise in terms of getting everything fully functional.
Sure thing. I'll start and then let Michael go into the details. From a construction standpoint, we're currently constructing the facilities out there. We plan on having a ribbon cutting by the end of this calendar year. It'll be open in phases. So part of it will be open in December, operational in the spring of next year. And then additional buildings will open up after that. This request, we're asking for 7 new operational positions. And I believe Michael might have the history on what we have so far.
Thank you. So over the last couple of budget cycles, we've been slowly building out the operational support team, the management team to lead the Multi-Agency Law Enforcement Training Academy. We were able to hire an executive director, Jeff Dale, a few years ago, who's been overseeing the project and helping to plan for operations. In the FY26 cycle, we added a few positions to help build out his management team and start planning for operations. This is going to be a consolidation of law enforcement training that's happening at separate campuses now. So there'll be a lot of coordination efforts that have to go on, a lot of scheduling that has to happen in order for all the law enforcement agencies to utilize a single campus and the shared resources it'll have. The request in the FY27 budget would add 7 new positions, and it is intended to be operational staff, the folks who would be working with the agencies to schedule resources, making sure everybody has the classroom space, the firing range time, access to dining and housing facilities and things like that, that they'll need to utilize the campus.
Chairman Hawk, you're recognized.
And thank you, Mr. Chairman. And you did mention this, we have 6 positions last year, 7 positions this year. When we get to peak operation, is that the number we're looking at, or is it more toward 20 or plus? What can we expect in the future?
At this point, we think this request, these 7 additional positions will get us to operations. It will still take us some time to transition, move all the agencies out there, start operating together, make sure everything is functioning accordingly. But we think these are the last positions we need to go operational. And then it'll be about working with the law enforcement agencies, making sure that that staff is meeting their needs and that they can serve their law enforcement community and bring out the staff that needs to be trained out there and serve them effectively.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
All right, thank you. Chairman Williams, you're recognized.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Commissioner. Just to follow up on that, if we've put 6 positions in last year, or 7 last year, 6 this year, and we think that's going to be all, but we're still not opening, why would the 6 or why would last year's recurring positions not be available for this startup, since we know we're not going to be fully operation until the next calendar year?
Thank you for the question. Let me clarify. The new positions we got in the FY26 budget have already been established, and all but one of them has been filled. Those are leadership positions that are working with Executive Director Dale to plan the operations. So they are meeting with all the law enforcement agencies. They are helping oversee the progress on the construction of the project. They are preparing for those services. Right now, the law enforcement agencies are kind of doing their own food service, dining service, the housing portion of the facility. So Executive Director Dale's team is figuring out how do we run that for 4 agencies at the same time on one shared campus.
Okay.
So they are doing that now, and then these new folks would be hired sometime in FY27. We want to hire them in enough time to help train them and make sure that they're ready when the new law enforcement agencies move out there in the latter part of the year. But you're right. We do think operations will truly begin towards the beginning of FY28, but we want to be able to hire them probably midpoint of FY27 so that we can get them trained and ready to serve staff.
Okay, thank you. Just to change directions, one of your budget requests was $50,000 for a drone. Do you fit that with Patriot missiles, or, I mean, that's a really expensive drone. I just wondered what was the purpose of the drone? What do we want to use it for? Are we cataloging existing properties, or is it all for new properties? If you could give me an idea of what's going on there.
Yes, sir. Happy to help with that. The drone is for our photographic services division in the Document Solutions division of General Services. This is the group that has our state photography unit that covers General Assembly events, the governor's events, and official state activities. And so this would be a new resource for them that adds a new capacity. We had a drone previously, but there were security concerns about that drone. It had to be retired early. So what we had to do was work with Central Procurement Office, identify a drone that met security standards. And so that kind of narrowed the range of manufacturers that we could utilize. And then, of course, this is professional photographic services, so it's a little bit more than just taking images to look. It's actually recording, preserving state history. So there's a lot more technical specifications that I understand that go into the drone, but really our chief concern was meeting the security compliance concerns. And then the rest of the cost of the $50,000 would go into the support costs it needs to operate the drone. It is a very large device, I'm told. It will have its own kind of suitcase for safe storage. It'll also need memory cards, external hard drives to handle the large data files and things like that.
But your existing staff, since that's non-recurring revenue, your existing staff's going to learn how to pilot it or
Correct.
utilize it.
One of our state photographers already has her drone license.
Okay, thank you. Just to follow up, skipping around a little bit, Citizens Plaza. This has been an interesting topic for more than a decade. When we bought that property, I think in 1986, we bought it for a little over $26 million. Looks like we've sold the property. Our original estimates we were going to bring in a sizable number for that property because of its value. As we look at other properties which are going to come available, like TPAC, when TPAC's built, we want to lease that property to somebody to be able to do it. And our valuation of that property is exponentially higher than what we got for Citizens Plaza. Could you tell me why, what the reasoning behind why we had to sell it? Was it a low number of people interested in it? Why we sold it for $10 million under what we paid for it 40 years ago?
I'm going to pull up John Hull, our Deputy Commissioner over Stream, if he can help answer that
I
one.
thought he was retired. Here he comes.
Thank you, sir. And I'm working on that part.
Yeah.
Yeah, Citizens Plaza, like all of our properties, we put it out for bid. That was the best bid we got. So that is Class B office space here in town, which is really not desirable these days. Class A office space is. So we'd love to have a higher number. We had actually put it out before, a couple of years ago, and got a lower number than that. So it was the number that we got in this particular market.
How many proposals did you get for the property?
I don't remember offhand. I'd have to get back to you with that. But they were going to repurpose it. It really wasn't for an office space. I thought they were going to do a hotel or something with it. So it was a lot of renovation money that they had to put into it.
Okay. Well, it just seems like that, sometimes we make property available. We don't have to sell it. Obviously, we didn't sell it the first time. I'm not sure that this wouldn't be one of those we retained, even though I was one of the people that really wanted to sell it too. It just seems like somebody got a really good deal at that number. It just feels like that we should have got a little bit better or a lot better actually than we did. But thank you for answering and congratulations. I'm not picking on John. I pick on him. He was in my district. What was that? A month ago, I guess, maybe a month ago.
Right.
New property for TDEC there. He was doing some inspections there, and that's when I found out the end is near for John Hull. So thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Next on the list is Chairman Crawford. Chairman, you're recognized.
Mr. Chairman, talking about capital budget items, the 220 French Landing renovations for DCS and the Department of Labor was estimated to cost somewhere around $45 million. The FY27 capital budget line item is now funded at 29.3. How confident are you in this projection, and can it be completed for 29.3?
I'll make my best. There we go. I'll make my best effort at that. Representative Crawford and John Hull may have to come back up and help me a little bit. My understanding is that the scope on that project was changed. The focus is on renovating that space so that the tenants can move in as quickly as possible. It helps us with our downtown real estate strategy. We've been working for a number of years on Project Tetris to help us reduce the state's footprint, especially in downtown. And being able to relocate staff to that building is a big part of that decision. So it was a sharpening of pencils, if you will, to make sure that we limit the scope to what needs to be done to get those tenants in the building. And so we are confident in that number with the revised scope.
Okay, with the revised scope that you're talking about, can you give us some examples of what was reduced to meet that standard?
Sure. I'm definitely going to ask Deputy Commissioner Hull to come back and help us explain that one.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the question. Yeah, it is all about interior office renovations. It's not about building systems. And so what we're doing is basically taking the Department of Labor and Workforce, who has the entire building at this point, and moving them to half of the building. And so as we do that, we have to renovate that side. And then after that's done, we'll then come back and do the other half of the building. And that's where the Department of Children's Services will ultimately go. So we pared that down to walls, carpet, moving ventilation because you have new office spaces, things like that for that number.
Okay, and Mr. Chairman, one more question. The demolition that you had set aside for the lab, I've seen has been cut down to 7.5. What makes you think you can do it for 7.5 when the original estimated cost was 13 million?
I may have to get clarification on that. When I look in the budget book, I still see it printed at $13,050,000.
Okay.
All right, Chairman.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next on the list is Chairman Hale.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon. Good to see y'all here with us this afternoon. So in 2024, the state reassigned a 2011 bond and $10 million $10 million in capital reserves to attempt to acquire the Capitol Towers and restore Capitol Complex. In 25, that was abandoned. So provide us an update on future plans for the Capitol Complex. Is the state going to try to move forward with another strategy to acquire Capitol Towers, or what's the plan?
Yes, sir. Thanks for the question. So, yeah, we're actually, we just received an appraisal for the land. And so we're starting our negotiations with them at this point in time. Yes, we would love to acquire the property over there. The issue we're currently looking at is, frankly, what's the cost to raise that building? So to the state, we're trying to return it to grass. And so we have a contractor coming in this week to give us more of a defined demolition cost for that building. So now we know the appraisal for the land. If we know the demo cost, we then have a total value that we can start to negotiate with the other side.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Then I'm going to ask a couple of questions if I could, just really focusing on the winter storms, just curious as far as the widespread damage across the state. Of course, we saw down power lines, tree debris, and a lot of public facility impacts that triggered a federal major disaster. So can you talk about what specifics have we seen across state property with these storms?
I would say generally our state properties are in really good shape. We had some challenges here in Middle Tennessee, especially over at the Ellington Agricultural Campus, a lot of downed trees and things of that nature. It's mainly debris cleanup at this point for our facilities. By and large, statewide, we didn't have any major issues with either state-owned or leased facilities. I'm really proud of our teams being able to get everything cleaned up and ready to go for our employees to get back to work as soon as they could. But generally, our properties are doing pretty well.
And can you talk about deferred maintenance as we look at the state's properties? Talk about how you prioritize that preferred maintenance.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we actually, we do inspections of our buildings, frankly, every year, especially our large buildings, of course. So we take those numbers into account as we determine what our capital projects are going to be. So every year, we're probably proposing over 120 different capital projects for that. And then it's up to the governor and obviously you all to fund what you need to at that point. But we are keeping a running log of all of those deferred maintenance items. And then we have a robust program, frankly, for our regular maintenance. So we're in our buildings every day doing things that are below the $250,000 threshold. So we're maintaining our buildings that way. And then what would come as a line item in the budget is anything over 250.
The only thing I'd add to that is that prior to my time, the STREAM team and then the governor's office and this General Assembly has done a really good job utilizing non-recurring funds to get ahead of that deferred maintenance. And so just thank you for everything you've done utilizing those funds that we've seen over the last 7-8 years.
This year's proposed budget includes a base reduction in the Facilities Revolving Fund, or FERF, rent of $266,100, and yet also includes a $2.1 million miscellaneous appropriation for increased FERF rent costs. Provide an overview of the reduction and increase in FERF rent.
I'd be happy to, Chairman. So on the reduction side, that is a result of, I mentioned Project Tetris earlier. So as we moved agencies around and shrunk their footprint, we would bill them less in rent. And so the reduction is the result of 2 agencies that have had moves completed recently, the Treasury in the Andrew Jackson building and a replacement facility, South Central Regional Health Office. It's a new building, but it's actually smaller than the old one. So we're recognizing rent reductions on those 2 items. The cost increase for the Facilities Revolving Fund is tied to a rent increase. Every year we do a rate study to measure the market and see how we're doing against providing real estate services space to state agencies. And it really kind of connects back to what we just talked about and maintaining a good balance with deferred maintenance and not falling behind. We want to make sure that we're bringing in enough rent so that we can continue to invest in our facilities, that they don't fall out of good use and good repair. And so we've requested a $1 per square foot increase in the Facilities Revolving Fund for FY27 so that we can continue to maintain that high level of maintenance and keep up with the services that state agencies expect.
How many buildings are leased statewide from private building or landowners?
I'll look to John here. I think it's about 300 leases.
Yeah, total leases are probably about 320 that we have statewide. We're in all 95 counties.
And how much is paid annually for the leasing space?
Let me flip to a different section of the notebook here.
Okay.
For FY '25, our total spend on contract rent was about $52 million, Chairman.
And who would be the state's largest private landlords?
The landlord that we have that has the most leases with the state is Mr. Pedigo. He has, I think, 30-some different leases with us. It has been a great landlord for many, many years.
Okay, thank you.
He's in Murfreesboro, by the way.
All right, next on the list, Leader Cochran, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman and Commissioner. We appreciate y'all being here with us today. And so I had a quick question, and you may not have this right in front of you, but you're familiar with the Moccasin Bend project and property?
Yes, sir.
So it's my understanding we own about 82 acres down there, and obviously we're looking for maybe a new site for that hospital. Could you tell us just, I guess, just your best understanding? We're looking for a new site primarily because it's just cost prohibitive to maybe do it to maybe rebuild on that same site. Could you maybe give me just a little bit more information on that?
Sure. I'll defer to John on that one.
Yeah, thank you for the question. We've reviewed more than 100 different properties, frankly, throughout Hamilton County for it. The reason that we're moving, certainly the current building, which was built, 65 years ago, has a lot of deferred maintenance to it. And so we've proposed several years ago to build a new facility. We would have preferred actually to be on Moccasin Bend. However, the history of the archaeology of that location is, I'm told actually by our state archaeologist, #1 site in the state of Tennessee. So the governor has asked us naturally that we should move, go find another location. So we're searching for, upwards of about 40 acres. Similar type setting. We like a more rural setting, trees, that sort of thing, to build our facilities there.
Leader Cochran.
So it's nothing is prohibiting us from building on that. It's not federally protected necessarily. It's just it was just the governor expressed his preference to go somewhere else.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay. And then, so let's say that happens eventually. And so then we're left obviously with a vacant building there along with 82 acres. What's the plan with that?
Well, more than 20 years ago, I believe 200 acres was given to the National Park Service for the same reasons, the archaeology of the area. So others will have to determine in the future what happens to the 80 acres that is remaining. But the site that we're on, right along the river, all of that is full of history. We did an archaeological study that is there. So whether it goes to the National Park Service or somewhere else, others will have to decide that in the future.
Leader Cochran.
Okay. Well, and I guess I would just ask, obviously, I would hope that this committee and others would stay very informed on what that plan would be as we move forward. Obviously, that's and I respect the archaeological value there, but really, a lot of places in Tennessee have, right, obviously there's a history there, and so you're always going to find some archaeological remnants, and so it's also very prime land in that area, and so before it's just given to the federal government or anyone else, again, obviously we would ask that we stay very informed on what the next course of action would be for that property.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. Next on the list, Chairman Hicks of Washington. Chairman Hicks, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for being here, Commissioner. Appreciate y'all being here this afternoon. It was recently discovered that the TWRA have been entering into leases without coming before the State Building Commission. Does Stream have knowledge of any additional executed TWRA leases that would need to come before the Building Commission? If so, how many?
No, sir. And thank you for the question. No, we do not know of any more. And so we have worked with them directly to remind them they need to come to us and obviously get before the State Building Commission.
Good. Thank you for that.
One thing I'll add to that too, if you don't mind, is we're going to begin training with all of our state agencies and understanding that leasing process to making sure that they understand, how they request it and moving forward. Hopefully we don't see any of those in the future.
Good. So that answered, I guess, my last question. So Stream has investigated and made sure that there's no other agencies that's actually doing the same thing, correct?
That's right. And,
Okay.
And if we find any, we'll address it directly with that agency, provide them with the new training and making sure they understand the process.
Thank you. And thank you, Chairman.
All right, thank you. Next on the list, Representative Capley, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, TDOT has a building in Waynesboro right now, and I know the Wayne County government has been trying to acquire it. There's been a lot of communication back and forth. I don't know if it's under like some kind of safety survey or something. My understanding, the state doesn't want it anymore. It's just sitting there empty. So if somebody could kind of update me and send that to my office, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yep, we'll update you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next on the list, Representative Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all for being here. I get asked this question just about every day. So let me ask the people who can answer it for me. What are the long-term plans for the administration building at Weston and for the other buildings on the property that's not being used and for the excess property out there that the hospital don't rightly need? I think you understand my question. If so, can you answer that?
Yes, sir. Right now, we're working with the Department of Mental Health to create a long-term master plan for that campus, which would include the administration building ultimately. We're working on that right now because it would require us to move other areas of the campus to a consolidated part of the campus so that we can frankly dispose of the rest of the campus. So we expect that to be finished sometime later this year with that department.
Representative Shaw.
The administration building itself, or are you planning on remodeling it or just preserving it as on the registry?
Yeah, we haven't decided completely yet. We actually have no office space use for it. So I would think, as we've talked to that department, it's more of preserving the building as opposed to repurposing it for some other use.
No timeline as to when this will happen?
Not to my knowledge, sir.
Okay.
I do not.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Next on the list, Representative Williams.
Thank you. Just to follow back up on the gas lab is what Chairman Crawford was asking about a minute ago. There is $13 million in the budget in order to do that demolition project using FERF dollars. I guess my question was, the two previous fiscal years, you guys have asked for $7.5 million in order to do that. We're wondering why it was $7.5 million the two other times, but this time it's 13. Did we get pricing similar to Citizens? It ended up being more instead of the valuation less. Why 13 instead of 7.5?
I'll have to verify to check to be sure, but I think the $7 million that we got was to raise all the buildings on Stewart's Lane where we're going to build all the DCS facilities. So we're out there currently actually raising those buildings.
Okay, so this would be in addition to that on a similar, on an adjacent property.
Yes, sir. That's
Okay.
correct.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, thank you. Chairman Hale, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. My neighbor here next to me kind of triggered something with me, and I wanted to ask. So when we talk about TWRA, and I mentioned this to them last year just in a conversation in the office, I know they've got some pieces of property that are not hunting related, and I've even got messages where a local utility and government was wanting to use a piece of land to kind of stage for running water lines and stuff. And the response came back to me, we don't care for them using that to stage. We can't use it for hunting and fishing. If we can't use that property for that, why are we not looking at those pieces of property to sell those pieces of property? That gets us revenue in, but then also that gets that piece of property back on the tax rolls for those counties. So, I mean, I have a major concern with that when they continue to ask for more money to maintain properties and all this, but we got pieces of property. And if there's one in Cannon County like that, I'm sure there's others across the state. So
Yeah, I don't know if John wants to add anything. I would say it kind of comes case by case, and we have to work with TWRA as our partners to seeing what they need that, land for and whether or not they would like to dispose of it. We would be glad to help them do that. I would defer to them generally on the property they say they need. And so, working with them as partners, again, we're open and willing to help with that, but it's their decision on their land.
Okay, well, we'll have that conversation with them later this week then.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right, members, I have no one else on the list. So at this time, I'm going to ask the Governor's Early Literacy Foundation, Mr. James Pond, which is president, if he would make his way up, and certainly appreciate them being here today. And Mr. Pond, we will control the microphone up here. So when you see that red light come on, you're ready to go. And just a reminder, members, all the presentations are on the dashboard. Without further ado, Mr. Pond, go right ahead. Please introduce yourself and your team that you have with you.
Wonderful. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I've got with us our Director of Programs, Meredith Hillary, our COO, Dr. Carl Wendt, and our CFO, Angel Bebout. Thank you so much for your time. Really wanted to bring in front of you an important issue around literacy provisions that we're making for children from birth through third grade across the state. Our mission is really to strengthen early literacy in Tennessee. We've been making some huge inroads in terms of literacy and proficiency scores, but our goal as a foundation is really building children's home libraries from the time they're born until they reach third grade. That's those pivotal learning years before a child is learning to read, to learn. And so the two programs that are most impacted in our budget request this year is Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, which is serving about 277,000 children from birth through 5 years old across our state. The Imagination Library through Dollywood is incurring about a 17% increase on us as a foundation. We're going to have to take on that cost. We're asking for money to offset some of those cost increases. And the second is our K-3 home library, which is an effort that we've been making with the Department of Ed and the General Assembly, which is building home libraries for our rising first through third graders. This is a summer-based program that is providing children with 6 books, both fiction and nonfiction, to help build their learning and knowledge base for the incoming grade. And this is a program that we're also seeing some cost increases across the board for print cost, transportation, book printing, et cetera.
Mr. Pond, let me interrupt you just for a second. I think some of our members are looking for the presentation. Members, the presentation is online under General Services, so you should be able to find that. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Yep, thank you, sir. Yep, a little bit about each one of those programs. Happy to answer those in questions, but really just wanted to be able to get to this. Our initial budget request was about $2.5 million. We went back, sharpened our pencils, came back to you all. Really what we're looking for is just to be able to incur some of those cost increases. The request that we're making is $650,000. It's about $450,000 for Imagination Library. For our K-3 program, it's just under $200,000 to be able to cover that cost. Just to give you a sense of impact, should we not be able to get these cost increases, for Imagination Library, this potentially affects about 30,000 children. For our K-3 program, if we're unable to get those cost increases, it could impact upwards of 5,500 to 6,000 students across our state. So with that, I would love to open the floor to questions. We are going to be having a March 2nd event. For those of you that would want to come and see us, we're going to be doing literacy and lattes. Come get some food, coffee, and let's talk about some books and how we're making progress with children's literacy rates. So with that, I'd love to open the floor to questions.
All right, I'll kick us off here. Members, if you have any questions, please be sure to get on the list. So what is the per child cost of participation in each major program?
Yeah, for our K-3 program, it's about $38 per child. That's all in. And then for Imagination Library, now we carry only 50% of that cost. So counties carry 50% of that cost in a public-private partnership. Is about $25 per student or per child because they're not students yet.
And then what is the cost per book distributed through book delivery initiatives?
So this same thing, it's $38. So for the 6 books, about $4.50 a book minus shipping and some of the handling costs.
Members, do we have anyone? Chairman Williams, you're recognized.
Thank you. Thank you for coming to my office, updating me on what it is you're doing. So is there obviously you have presented to the governor for the budget, didn't include it in the budget. That's kind of why you're here today. I guess my question is, if you're providing 6 books to children, instead of 6,500 kids going without books, have you considered, if funding's not there, have you considered what it looks like to reduce the number of books that the kids could get? Or
We certainly have, and
Okay.
we would look at modifying the program, doing anything that we could to make sure that kids had books, but we just wanted to create what that impact looks like one way or the other.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Are all 95 counties served?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for our guests? If not, thank you very much. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you all for being here today and answering our questions.
Thank you for your consideration.
All right, members, without objection, we will now go back into session. We are back in session, and that does complete our budget hearings for today. Just a reminder that budget hearings will resume tomorrow, February the 24th, 2026 at 9 a.m. here in House Hearing Room 1. Do we have any further business coming before the committee? I see none. Without objection, we stand adjourned. We are adjourned.